In Ohio, a man owns a 1967 Mustang, never driven far at all. The car rests in a climate-controlled garage, hidden beneath a soft gray cloth. Every morning before leaving for work, he carefully checks on the Mustang. Neighbors think he's obsessed, while his wife finds his behavior somewhat unusual. He firmly believes, without doubt, that this car will eventually make him wealthy. The question is not money alone, but what occurs within his mind. Today, we explore the fascinating psychology of human behavior regarding financial decisions. People buy cars as investments, seeing machines as potential sources of wealth. Stocks, real estate, and gold are logical investments, but cars feel different. New vehicles immediately lose value after leaving dealerships, a fact well known worldwide. Despite this, millions invest heavily, believing rare cars will appreciate over decades. Optimism bias explains part of this, a natural tendency toward hopeful expectations. Buyers focus on best outcomes, imagining auctions where cars sell for multiples. Headlines about Ferraris selling for millions inspire thoughts, that could happen to me. This behavior is not foolishness. Human brains are wired to imagine positive futures. Optimism bias is just one factor. Other psychological forces strongly influence car investments. The endowment effect explains why owned items seem more valuable than identical objects. Once someone owns a car, it becomes more than metal, glass, and tires. Emotional attachment inflates perceived value, making owners believe cars are worth much more. This perception can persist for years, often decades, without serious questioning or doubt. A Princeton study asked participants to sell randomly assigned items for cash prizes. Seller consistently demanded higher prices than buyers were willing to pay for identical items. Ownership creates feelings of uniqueness. Cars amplify this because they represent identity and status. Luxury brands sell lifestyle and personality, not just horsepower or technical specifications. Buying a rare vehicle often represents a sophisticated, successful version of oneself internally. High-value purchases are rarely rational. Emotion underlies most collector and investor decisions consistently. Emotional motivations often surpass financial reasoning, subtly guiding every car acquisition and investment choice. A retired teacher in England collected motorcycles for decades, connecting to history emotionally. Each motorcycle represented craftsmanship, pride, and a time period before financial returns mattered. For him, emotional connection fueled every purchase, while profit remained a distant secondary thought. This pattern is common among collectors. Emotions often outweigh rational, calculated financial considerations. Research shows collectors underestimate emotional drives while overestimating logical reasoning behind their purchases. People convince themselves they are making smart financial decisions, but feelings guide choices. Another important trait is sensation seeking, drawn to excitement, novelty, and intense experiences. Sensation seekers are disproportionately represented among car collectors and dedicated automotive investors worldwide. Hunting rare cars, attending auctions, and restoring vehicles provides thrills unmatched by other pursuits. Car investment culture is also social, with clubs, rallies, forums, and exclusive gatherings. For many, community belonging surpasses the car itself as the main psychological reward. Being understood and appreciated by fellow collectors creates a validation no stock can provide. Yet, a shadow exists. Excessive materialism correlates with lower long-term life satisfaction overall. Ego-driven collectors experience cycles, excitement, emptiness, and compulsive pursuit of the next acquisition. Garages fill, debt grows quietly, while financial returns remain perpetually just out of reach. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill, where pleasure from acquisitions fades too quickly. Investors motivated by ego rather than genuine passion risk emotional strain and financial losses. A Toronto advisor observed clients losing money had bought cars without any structured financial plan. Clients purchased vehicles based on emotion, holding them tightly due to strong personal attachment. Only when losses became undeniable did they consider the actual financial consequences seriously. This demonstrates loss aversion, feeling losses roughly twice as intensely as equivalent gains. Investors often wait too long to sell, fearing psychological pain from financial loss. So, what distinguishes disciplined car investors from emotionally driven, impulsive buyers consistently? Awareness and strategy separate true investors from those acting purely on feelings and desire. Smart investors study historical trends, market data, and models that have appreciated reliably. They maintain vehicles meticulously, ensuring condition matches potential long-term financial returns carefully. Most importantly, they remain honest about motivations, knowing when emotion or logic dominates decisions. Returning to Ohio, the man with the $2,500,000 Mustang may be entirely correct. Classic American muscle cars have historically delivered impressive returns over decades, in many cases. Yet what makes his story compelling is the quiet, personal morning ritual. Each day he walks to the garage, removes the gray cloth thoughtfully, slowly. He stands silently observing the Mustang, a ritual that goes beyond financial calculation entirely. That moment represents meaning, not money, demonstrating the human need for significance and connection. Humans are meaning-making creatures. Tangible objects provide stability when abstract financial systems feel uncertain. A beautiful machine in a garage feels permanent, controllable, and emotionally comforting to owners. It represents some real, touchable, and perhaps transferable to future generations over time. Whether this emotional connection translates to wise financial decisions remains uncertain and unpredictable currently. Understanding why this feeling exists is the first step toward emotional intelligence growth. True financial and emotional intelligence begins by examining the motivations behind our purchases carefully. If this story changes your perspective, share it with someone who loves cars. Pause to reflect on your possessions and consider what stories they silently communicate. Ask yourself honestly, which objects reflect identity, self-image, legacy, or desire for validation consistently. Consider why you keep certain items and the feelings attached to them daily. Emotional attachment can amplify perceived value, affecting decisions across investments, collections, and purchases globally. Humans rarely act purely rationally. Emotion underpins most behaviors involving objects and money subconsciously. Cars, like art or watches, provide identity, community, and meaning beyond monetary considerations alone. Recognizing these psychological forces allows more informed, conscious decisions about possessions and investment choices. Ultimately, the Mustang story reminds us that meaning often drives human decisions more than money.